Hello everyone, I'm GavTheMaster974 back again with a Destiny Prison of Elders solo guide. This time I'm covering the level 32 Broken Legion Arena. Let's get right into this. So you might be thinking, why am I doing the level 32 version? Well, in the old set of captures that I did on my Stream Archives channel, I actually did this arena when it was level 34 because I must have missed out on this arena when I was playing it initially, when I was doing the whole Prison of Elders soloed stuff. Just so you know, this is my loadout that I'm using for this. So same loadout as last time, same Sunbreaker perks and weapons, and you can see the other stuff as well if you really want to, and the perks on each armor piece. I also have a wish to EA, which is to do the weekly featured raid, which I've not ever done, so that's awesome. So yeah, level 32 version, in theory it should be easier, but it's just the same as the level 34 version, so once you're at this kind of level, then it's just, it's not really much different, you know, so yeah, that's what the situation is. So here we are, we're about to begin our first round, and the first round is of course Cabal, because this is the Trau'ug arena. We have the Juggler modifier on, which means you don't get your ammo back. If you get a kill with a weapon, then you don't get ammo for that weapon that you get. Oh, sorry, the weapon that you have out. I'm fucking up badly, but I hate to say this, but a good weapon to counter Juggler is Icebreak if you have it, because that just automatically regenerates its own ammo. So that pretty much makes Juggler not even worth worrying about at that point. But what I said earlier about you don't get your ammo back and all that is, if you actually do run out of ammo entirely, then usually what happens in the game is Destiny decides to give you just some ammo back for your primary and special and maybe your heavy weapons. But with Juggler on, you just don't get a damn thing, so that's why you would need to, you know, depend on synths and all that, which might use synths later on in the Skolas's Revenge Arena if we absolutely need to. But yeah, that's the situation there, ladies and gentlemen, is if you do run out of ammo, you have to kill enemies somehow to get your ammo back. So that was a lovely no-scope there with a sniper rifle, where you don't even need to scope in to get a kill. I do that sometimes. I feel like, yeah, I want to be a bit pro at this game and just get some kills with a sniper without even having to scope in to get the kills. So we might see that a little bit later in this arena, I don't know. But yeah, it's not too difficult because it's just Cabal enemies. I don't really like the Cabal, to be honest, which is why I would say this is one of the worst arenas to try and do, period. Just because you have, you know, the allows me no scoping with the Icebreaker, by the way. I knew it happened at some point, but the Cabal are just annoying in my opinion, so it makes them not very fun to fight compared to the other bosses, and especially this final boss as well. So that's why the length of this video is quite long, is because there's two bosses we have to fight in this arena. Not only Trau'ug, who's the final boss, but also a boss that we'll cover later. A Hive boss, mind you, the Wretched Knight. So that's why this video is so long, and there might even be one video that's longer than this where there's like 3 boss fights in 5 rounds, so, and maybe the Skolas's Revenge one as well, since that might be quite long, but I don't think it'll be 40 minutes long, mind you. So in the previous video, the Gorlot Unclean arena, that was the first upload of this Prison of Elders soloed, so depending on your rotation into this series, it might determine which video you decide to watch first. For me, it's been the Gorlot Unclean arena that I've set as my first arena to do. In that video, when I did that, I do talk about my strategy sometimes, going from, you know, just camping around in one spot and trying to be somewhat dynamic to make the gameplay interesting. So as you see here, I'm trying to maneuver around the arena somewhat and not just hold up in one camp spot. Though in some other situations, especially the boss fights, it would pay to camp around in one area. But again, it's personal play style and you are doing it by yourself, so you do have to take stuff like that into account. So again, final Cabal round, and it's just going to get progressively more difficult, but again, it's nothing that we can't handle. So don't forget, we also have a super that we could use, and there's me trying to use the Haze and Vengeance to get some enemies clustered together for a nice easy kill. Didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. Now I use a super, so just trying to, you know, take out crowds of enemies and the more powerful or ass enemies to take care of. So again, as you see, the strategy, it's not just camping around in one spot. You do retreat if you absolutely need to, making use of the Icebreaker, because the Icebreaker regenerates ammo, which negates Juggler being on. Now, of course, because I'm using a scout rifles do have a lot of ammo to begin with, so well, I won't feel the draining, if you will, of the ammunition. And especially using Icebreaker means that you can get some primary ammo back. So first round, not too bad. About 5 minutes I think it was to get through. 5 minutes 10. 60 kills. So a good way to start it off. I think I could do it a bit faster, but it is what it is at the end of the day. So now we can begin to move on to the next round of this arena, which is going to be, of course, as I stagger to waste time, the Hive. Yeah, I didn't actually know it was the Hive, that's why I was, you know, staggering in time. Modifier is Lightswitch, so the enemies do more melee damage against you, but that shouldn't really affect you too much. It's only the thrall that would really do anything. So again, it's just a matter of killing the thrall first, dealing with any critical objectives that you need to, and just killing all the enemies. So again, this is one of the arenas where I'm more prone to be camping around in one spot, which is usually where the ogres spawn, to be honest, which is where I'm looking now. Not now, but now, here. This is where I usually like to camp, but as you see, there's enemies there. I don't run away from the mine, so I screw myself over. And of course there's a wizard shooting at me somewhere, so now I need to figure out where that's coming from, take him out. Again, this is me trying to no-scope with a sniper, and the thrall made me miss. Now I'm trying to shoot a wizard with his shield fully up with a scout rifle that's not doing the right elemental damage. So you're going to have a bad time. A bunch of thrall there. That was an opportunity to use a grenade, get some orbs of light generated. I think that orbs of light generated is because of the item I have on, like the artifact. And I think for the artifact I have on currently, if you get solar grenade kills or solar grenade multi-kills, then it has a chance to generate an orb of light. And I think that's what's happening there. If you ever see me generate an orb of light, then that's probably what it is. Just one cursed thrall lying around, and another enemy lurking around somewhere, which is yet another cursed thrall, delaying the time it takes to do this. So this is where we have our critical objective to do, and it's to destroy mines. Now, of course, the destroy mines could always be worse. It could be the dismantle mines, because quite honestly, I hate dismantle mines, and it really does make the difference between being able to complete an arena and not being able to beat it, because it's pretty much all dependent on luck. Now, I don't know if there's a perfect science behind it. Maybe some of the more avid players would have been able to find a sort of way to find out how the mines spawn in. Like, is it on a timer? Is it like a condition on how many enemies you kill, or how quickly you get to the mine, or how long the mine would have lasted for before the next one spawns in? And it's all these little factors that you probably won't even take into consideration, but it does definitely affect the probability of beating an arena. And for something like the Hive, or maybe even the Cabal arena, and perhaps the Vex. It's not that bad because the mines aren't really that far away from each other, so you can make it from one to the other in a reasonable amount of time. But unfortunately for the Fallen Arena, that's where things get really ass, and I was actually quite surprised that the game decided to throw a heavy ammo synth at me there to get my heavy ammo back, when usually it's a Scorch Cannon, so that's why I was expecting, a Scorch Cannon, but I got a bloody heavy ammo drop as well when you only get 3 rockets out of it. It is helpful, and that's the benefit of having something like Haze and Vengeance with 3 rockets per magazine, essentially, and also the Armamentarium with the perk to get more heavy ammo. And if you're wondering, no, having the Armamentarium does not increase the amount of Icebreaker ammo you get. You're only going to get 6 bullets in the Icebreaker, and that's it. So it's pointless putting that perk on for the Armamentarium if you have it as a Titan to, you know, get more ammo. So as you see, I'll use a super, and bullshit, if you saw that, the super doesn't actually do any damage whatsoever to the mine. So you'd think it would do damage, it actually doesn't. Not even the sunspot does any damage. So that's a bit of a troll, to be honest. You'd think that it would do something, but it actually does nothing. So that's the Hive Arena done and dusted for now. I mentioned earlier that there is the Wretched Knight that we need to face as well. That would come later, obviously, so we'll be back, but we don't have to worry about that anytime soon. So again, another 5 minutes it took to do this round, and another 60 odd kills or something. So I think what's going to happen soon is there's going to be a cut in the audio. Not a cut in the audio, a cut in the video. My apologies, I can't speak today. And I've got another voiceover to do after this, which is going to be the Yorux's Flame Grudge. Yorux's Grudge, the Flame Prince Arena. But yeah, the reason why there's a video cut there is because I died on this, and most likely because you have to dismantle mines. There's the Catapult modifier one, if you saw it, which means you get an increased grenade recharge rate, so make use of your grenades when you can, because you will get more of them. So again, this is what I talked about earlier in the previous rounds, where it's awkward to do some of these Prison of Elders soloed stuff, because, you know, if you have to dismantle mines, then if the mines spawn in too quickly, then there's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. So I don't know what the hell's going on here, but it looks like there's some glitch in the level or something. Like some of the geometry is just like stretching to infinity or something. It's the sort of thing you'd see if you do like Nintendo 64 corruptions or something, where it's just like you get these polygonal stretches. So I don't know why the hell that's there and why Bungie never did anything to fix it, but that's there for anyone who wants to see it. So if you ever do, you know, the Valus Broken Legion Arena, then you can see a glitch near the back of that area. And there's me wanting to use a rocket launcher, and I'll get nearly fucked up by a captain here. Nearly really screws my ass up, but I took him out right there, and that was more luck than anything else. So I put one of those rockets to good use, try and crowd control so you kill multiple enemies with one shot, so you don't waste ammo on a single person that doesn't deserve it. And you should be noticing that my grenades are coming back relatively faster than they normally would, but it's not really something that you would really pay attention to. So it is what it is. You should be able to get grenades back at a reasonably decent pace to be able to use them if you absolutely need to, which is what I try to do, or kill enemies, or clog up the spawns with a solar grenade or something to deal damage to the enemies while you can. So there's our first round done and dusted. So what I'd like to do is kind of stay in the middle of the arena here, because you have to be able to go either to the left or to the right here, when the first mine spawns in to be able to make it to the mine. So it could be for the far left, to the far right, or somewhere just off to the right. And it comes out that the first mine spawns here. And I believe if you stay up there for a certain amount of time, then some of the enemies from the spawn that I was just looking at there do teleport up to where you are. So that is quite shit, to be honest. Turns out the second mine's actually spawning up here. So you want to be hitting the mine with about 10 seconds to spare. If you're hitting it with any less than 10 seconds, then you're pretty much going to fail because you just don't have the time to dismantle the mine. So as you see, the third mine actually spawned in already. So I don't know why it did it, if I didn't kill enough enemies or if I wasn't fast enough, but that's the reason why it's so difficult to do these dismantle mine ones. And as you see, it's just about 10 seconds. You think I'm going to fuck it up here, but I might just about pull it off. As you see, it's like 4, 3, 2. So yeah, it's just about doable, because you have to go from where I am now to where I just was in a reasonably fast amount of time, and not even having like speed boost for getting multiple solar ability kills to make yourself go faster helps you in this case, because the speed boost is tiny. So that's why Skyless's Revenge is as hard as it is. You know, you have to micromanage the devouring essence that kills you if you don't, you know, sword block when it gets to 0, and also there's dismantle mines when his health gets low on 2 different occasions, by the way. So you have to be lucky with dismantle mines on 2 different occasions in order to do Skyless's Revenge, which is why it's as difficult as it is. So I'll cover that when I get to Skyless's Revenge, and that reasoning right there is why it can take upwards of an hour just to do the Skyless boss fight. I do see a green over there. It's only going to give armor materials or weapon parts, but I'm not focusing on that right now because there is a mine to defuse, and conveniently enough it's at the same spot that the previous one was. So I tried to use the Scorch Cannon on some of the more powerful enemies and try not to waste as much ammo. I thought that I'd get off and see where the next mine would spawn, but it actually spawned in right here. So just get to the mine, defuse it, do whatever you have to, shimmy around if you have to, and then obviously now we have to make way to the final one. So this is what I mean about speed boost not really helping. As you see, I got speed boost times 3, and you're noticing I'm not really going as fast as I could be. And again, striking that mine with about 10 seconds to go. Here I was just like panting, like, oh my god, am I going to do it? Am I going to do it? This could determine the entire completion of the arena. And at that point it's like, yeah, you've pretty much done it. Because once you get past those kind of challenges, the arena's pretty much yours for the taking at that point. So, yeah, I saw a bunch of enemies down there, so I thought I'd use a super, generate some orbs, try and help some, help some non-existent players out by generating orbs which they can't use and I can't use. Again, if you're playing this cooperatively, then most of this stuff you don't even need to worry about. It's just a matter of getting through the arenas and killing out some of these major enemies, which are, you know, a pain in the ass sometimes. And I had that guy killed, and then he decided to fall off the fucking plane wing or something. And so, again, wasting a rocket on one enemy, which is something that I actually said earlier about don't waste your grenades on one enemy or rockets or whatever. And I completely wasted a rocket on one guy. So, it is what it is, but I got a lot of them anyway, so. All that for 1 armor materials, and you can see that's the 1 death there, and that's the cumulative time, so it took me 10 minutes or so just to do this round when I was playing it. So later videos you might see it takes a really long time to do if there's multiple deaths, because that's all of the times just like added on together. So that was probably another 5-minute round or something. Maybe longer, I don't know. So now we're moving on to round 4. This is our Wretched Knight round. And you know when you're going to be facing a boss because the door doesn't open right away. So you can obviously hear the Warden AI on the other side of the door, but it doesn't actually open the door. So that's a telltale sign that you're dealing with a boss. And then it just opens up and you can go in. So I think Brawler is the modifier here, so you get extra melee damage. Should help against some of the enemies that come close to you, but this is one of those instances where it just pays to just camp, right? Just camp around in one spot and just pot shot the enemy until he dies, and while killing all the other enemies while we're at it. So this is why this might take a really long time to get through, because this is like the 80, well, more like 60% mark of the arena, yet we're about halfway through the video or something, because it's just 2 boss rounds and there's not much you can do to deal damage to the enemies. So here there's a wizard who's trying to mess me up, so I'm trying to take him out. And of course there's ogres as well. Ogres are never nice, they cause too much trouble and hassle. I'm just trying to take out some of these enemies while I can before they really begin to mess me up. And of course there's no real advantageous modifiers that are on, like solar burn for instance, or small arms and solar burn or something. That way, you know, we get a little bit of extra damage, and those that have like the raid adept weapons could utilise a, you know, exotic solar primary to really maximise from that, if that ever is a situation, especially in like the nightfalls and all that. But in this case, all we have is our melee damage is increased slightly, so now it's like, what the hell is he doing? What the hell is going on there? He's just like trying to walk up and, you know, like failing miserably at it. So anyway, I don't really have anything other to say. You know, it's just simply a matter of camping up in one spot, shooting at him a bunch, then when the reinforcements spawn in, you just deal with them. I would prioritise the wizards and the ogres first, since they are the most dangerous to you. Use a super if you absolutely need to. And then of course the fours are just going to charge you anyway, so you can always use one of your punches to take them out. And of course this is if you're doing this as a Titan. You could be playing with a completely different character, who knows. So the rules may be slightly different for the other characters. But I wouldn't know that because I rarely play as the other characters. I'm a Titan main through and through, so rarely play as other characters in Destiny unless I really need to. So like for instance right now I'm playing Destiny with my brother on PS4, and I'm playing as a Warlock because that was the character which I never played as on the PS4 version until I played as the Warlock to get a level 40 character, and then deleted that character so I could play the game with my brother. So you kind of see that's a crazy situation right there. And it would be good to play like the raids and all that as well. More so that my brother can experience them, not me, but you know, it is what it is at the end of the day. Of course, from a year 3 perspective, it's going to be very difficult to find people that just would help to do stuff like the level 26 Vaulted Glass or something when me and my brother had the opportunity to do it. But it is what it is at the end of the day. Quite honestly, I don't anticipate that we would be able to find any help in that regard. As you can see, I just like punched a wizard and killed him without even having the solar ability to go along with it. So that's what it means by greatly increased. It means you get significant increased punching power. So, but again, we're not really dealing with that right now. We're just dealing with damage with our normal weapons and killing all the enemies while we can. Of course, for my subclass build right now, it's kind of ass because the recovery is not there, so I should be having my shields regenerate very quickly, but it takes a really long time to do because, you know, the recovery is not there. And this is kind of awkward because there's a wizard right there. I want to take him out but can't see him through the sunspot, so I don't know. Well, when you can take him out, it's good. So most of this is actually just trying to kill the enemies that have spawned in because of me doing damage to the boss. So at this point I'm like, fuck it, I'm using a super. It's slightly more difficult for me compared to before because I used to have the perk where you actually had an overshield when you went into a sunspot. So it doesn't necessarily recover your health any. It just means that you have an extra shield so they don't kill you instantly. But don't really have that now to make it so... Well, actually, I don't know what the current ability I have is. All I know is that you don't get a sunspot, so it can be a bit... Well, you don't regenerate your health when you go into a sunspot, so it makes it a bit more awkward. There's a jump snipe there against a ogre. And you might have saw he dropped something. We'll see what that is later. We're not going to go right up to the boss now and investigate. Also some cursed thrall right by the boss. So I just tried to fire a rocket at him. He's about half health or something, a little less than half. So trying to pot shot him with Icebreaker. Looks like more enemies have spawned in. So gonna have to deal with these enemies. Then probably another round of enemies, and then possibly that would be the arena at that point, and the knight's doing that weird maneuver again where it looks like he's trying to go up but can't do it. So you could go full force on the boss, but God knows how good that's gonna go for you. So do what I do, try and take it nice and easy, kill the enemies and prioritise them at least, so you take out some more of the enemies that are going to be detrimental to you first, then begin to take out some more of the pain in the ass enemies. So, the acolytes are just going to be a pain in the ass, but, you can always deal with them later. But the greatest threat enemies are going to be like the wizards, because they can just come right on into your little camp spot here and mess you up. And the ogres will mess you up even from where they are in relation to you, because of their eye blast. And of course the boss is firing at you all the time as well, and that's quite damaging, so you need to have some structure to how you're gonna defeat all these enemies. So my structure is just to take out the big bastards first, then slowly work your way down to the simpletons. I'll try using a rocket flare there. It looks like his health is getting pretty low now at this point, so at this point I'm thinking about how I'm going to go about killing this guy. Obviously that fool should have died to that punch, but he didn't, and that's all well and good. So now it's like, okay, just got to kill all these enemies, try and have a hammer of soul go right over to where the boss is now, so does some damage to him, and all it takes is just a few shots in the heads and he's going to go down eventually. Sorry about that. My throat's fucking up, so at this point it's like, yeah, come on, we're so close. It's like the last wave of enemies spawning in, but we're not going to deal with them. Fuck you, Wretched Knight. I know, I've got to reload. This is bullshit. Come on, you're so close. Don't fuck it up now. And he's dead, and we've done it. Yes, we fucking got him. So that took way, way too long. And there's a green, which I picked up, but the game said I never did. And if we hop up over here, we got Husk of the Pit. Yeah, in Year 3 Destiny, there's a item called the Husk of the Pit that you can get from Hive enemies. That puts you essentially onto the Year 3 Necrochasm questline. And I think in the previous video I got like 2 Husk of the Pits in one session. That was the Ghoul or Unclean arena. And I got a Husk of the Pit now in this arena. So it seems to me they do drop from ogres most likely. So if you need Husk of the Pit in Year 3, then consider doing some of these arenas solo, because you can possibly get a Husk of the Pit out of it. So now we're on to the final round, the bastard Valus Trau'ug. So for this arena, what I'm going to do is change it up a little bit, I think. Do I change? I don't change it up. I switch out my rocket, so I get the titanium orchid out, only because that does void damage, because the quirk behind this boss is that he does change his shields, and we don't get ammo either. So Juggler, which was the first modifier, is back again. So what we have to do is try and get kills with weapons that are not primary or necessarily heavy weapons. So Icebreaker kills. Icebreaker works because it negates Juggler. That's why we're using it. And every time you take out Valis' shields, it's going to recalibrate them and it's going to go to, well, a different kind of elemental damage type. So it alternates between Void, Arc and Solar. So you might think, well, why aren't you using something like Zalo's Supercell and then switch it up a little bit when you need to? So you have like a Arc secondary, Void heavy. But then the problem is you need to have ammo for those to really do the necessary damage. Which is why it would be better to have 3 people. That way you have more of an ammo pool to choose from. Sorry. So in this case, my strategy is just to try and take out the Centurions, Phalanxes and all that first. Especially those golden health bar Centurions, because they can and will mess you up if you're not careful. So just like the previous boss fight, you know, the Wretched Knight, try and take out the, you know, the pawns first. That's the word I was looking for. Take out some of these little enemies first, so then you can prioritise on the boss later. So I'll try and do damage there. There's a Centurion right in my face. I'm trying to no-scope him with an Icebreaker. That's not a very good idea. Don't try that. And he's actually still there. So at this point I'm like, oh shit, what do I do? What do I do? Take it nice and easy. Just kill him. Punch him with the Icebreaker out so you can get ammo for the primary and secondary. Primary and heavy there, and I almost got killed. That's why you don't do that shit. You gotta play it really carefully, and that was not playing it carefully, and that was a shitty ass grenade. But obviously the rocket launcher there, it would do way more damage and can actually take his shield down in one go if you actually have him so it's got the Void shield. But in my case I didn't do it, so he recalibrates his shields now, and obviously it's going to be a random elemental effect. So obviously you'll only be P-shooting him if you don't have the right elemental matchup. And in this case it is Solar again, so something like the Icebreaker or my ability would do extra damage, and so you can get through his shields a bit quicker. But of course it's just as quick, I guess, to just take him out with the primary weapon. Primary weapon that does no additional damage. Don't mind me guys, I'm just going to have to take a sip. My throat's getting a bit sore because I've just talked for like half an hour straight and I've still got another 15 minutes or so to go, so excuse me please. You just saw I got an Icebreaker kill. There's some heavy ammo right there. That's me wanting to use a grenade because there's enemies from down that way. There's a Centurion coming in. I'm like, fuck you. No, you don't. Trying to take out those Centurions. Now, you might want to leave them because, you know, major enemies, and majors give you extra superpower when you kill them. But they're more difficult to take out, so you have to find the balance between, do you actually leave them but they're more powerful so it takes longer for them to die, or do you use your super like what I was trying to do there to take them out while you can, so then you're left doing more of the pawn enemies to just take out on your own accord relatively easily. And I think it helps that you don't have them, don't have those majors just lying about and messing your shit up. So this is my usual camp spot. What I'm doing now is I'm trying to shake some of the enemies off me a little bit and running out to get some ammo drops as well. So now I'm just like got some more of the heavy ammo, trying to take out those enemies there. They do seem to get messed up by the grenade, so it's just a matter of taking them out while you can. And so if you can take him out, there's a chance that you actually get an ammo drop that is beneficial to you. So in this case, got the scout rifle out. Trau'ug got a kill there, so won't get any primary ammo. And yeah, back to the camp spot. So that's usually my strategy, at least. It's not the most fun to watch, nor is it the most fun to actually hear. This is what I was talking about earlier about the rocket launcher shot doing damage. If you actually land the shot, then it can take his shield down in one. So that's why you really do need to get those elemental matchups right. But I think I found when I was trying to do this by myself, having a Arc, Solar and Void, all weapons of different elemental damage types, it doesn't quite work out for the best. Mostly because you need ammo, and you will run out of ammo relatively quickly. So I guess get Icebreaker if you can, though I can understand that some people won't necessarily have access to Icebreaker, which is kind of why I don't want to be doing a guide saying, oh, you need exotics. Last video there was Exposure, and I suggested that you could use the Red Death. Though I would say the Red Death's more easily obtained than the Icebreaker. Mostly because Icebreaker you need to do a Nightfall Strike, get a gold tier achieved, and do it within a certain time limit. That's kind of asked to do, especially if you're doing it solo like me, where pretty much everything in Destiny you got to do by yourself because you just don't have the people to play with, and the way Destiny designed is that it forces you to have people to play with, which ain't good, to be honest. Still not a fan of that, by the way. They still do it, even in 2019, when the game came out in like 2014 or 2015 or something. They're still pulling off this whole, oh, well, you do actually need people to play with to do some of these activities. So I try and defy the system and say, no, you can actually do it by yourself if you really wanted to, and here's the evidence that you can do so. And this should inspire more people to go ahead and actually attempt to do it by themselves, so they can say they've done stuff like Prison of Elders, as opposed to saying, well, I can't do it because I need people to play with because the game's flawed in that regard. So that's the way I see it, at least. And someone's bound to be crazy enough to watch this video and actually try and do this, so kudos to you if you're actually hearing this right now for sticking to this video for so long. My voice is bound to crack out at the end of this, just due to the amount of talking I'm going to be doing. And of course I've got another voiceover to do after this, because I was doing the Broken Legion arena now. The level 34 arena is actually the Uox Flame Prince. So that is another arena I've done for this week, this certain rotation. So I'm going to have to do another, voiceover to talk about how to get through that. So, my god, I've got a lot of stuff to do. So, nothing to it, it's just take out his, elemental shields, try and match up the actual elemental effect if you can. Try and switch out where you're actually standing. As you see, he has the void now, but of course I'm not going to be wasting a rocket just yet because the reinforcements have just spawned in. So it's just a matter of using some strategy to take out some of the asinine phalanxes and centurions first, then focusing more on, the boss at that point. Pull out a super, trying to take out the Imperial Centurions here. There's a guy on the stairs I saw, so I thought I'd try and get him. Didn't quite get to him. Looked like the audio just stopped for a second, but now it's come back, so that's good for the audio. So, obviously now my recovery is shot, so I need to wait longer than I would like to. Now I'm just trying to poke around, see where enemies are so I can kill them, so they don't mess me up. There's an enemy off to my side, that's why you use your mini-map, so you can see stuff like this as it happens. Now I feel like my position's compromised, so I just run away. There's some heavy ammo right in front of me, so that's going to be helpful when I fire a shot off at the boss. At least then I have a rocket spare if I need it. You shouldn't have to have a rocket spare if you need it, but it's always nice to have the backup there. And there's another heavy ammo drop here in front of me right now, so swoosh on in and pick that up. And now I'm over into this area where I almost never hang out when doing stuff like this, the Prison of Elders. So it's just a matter of trying to take out some of the enemies, luring them to you in a way that means that you don't have that many to deal with at any one time. That's the idea here. The final boss is right there, so just gonna take out some of these minions for right now. And got that green, and he's right there, and he could have killed me by smashing me up against the wall, but he didn't for some reason. So somehow I survived, and now it's like, okay, that's it, I'm gonna try and mess your shit up, fam. Trying to figure out where he went, but he's over there somewhere, I'm sure. Or is he off to my left now? I don't know. And I threw that grenade hoping the phalanxes would go into it, and they never did. So fuck the phalanxes. And there he is, and I'm like, bang! Fuck you, piece of shit. Hopefully, I was hoping I had icebreaker ammo, but I didn't. So now I'm trying to aim for the precision shots, because precision shots do more damage. There's the phalanx there trying to shoot me up, but that's not going to work. Now I need to figure out what elemental damage it is now. Oh, convincingly, it's, conveniently, it was Void again. So again, just use Void rocket launcher or something. Take it out in one, or whatever weapon you so happen to have, and then just wait for the reinforcements to come piling out and try and take them out. So that way you're not going to get overwhelmed by powerful enemies. So especially those Imperial Centurions, because they are a real pain in the ass. And they will mess your shit up, so you do need to take care of them relatively quickly. And there's a Centurion right here. You come into the safe space. Well, fuck you. But no, fuck you. There you go. That's what's supposed to happen to you. Knew some enemies were down there, and I threw a grenade, but you never saw my hand throw it. If you actually play the video back, you never see me actually throw the grenade with my hand. It just comes out of me. I think I fired a rocket and missed because I wanted to hit the boss with that. And I was like, oh, fuck this. And there's a lot of explosive shots going into that little doorway right there. And of course there's an Imperial Centurion there. That's not good. Try and take him out. It's like, I want to shoot him up with a rocket, but I don't have ammo in a rocket. What the fuck is this shit, dude? Seriously. Why the hell do I need to reload in a futuristic shooter game? Seriously. It's the future. You don't need to reload, dude. Seriously. And now he has Void again. So how many rotations of his elemental shield has it been? Where he's had like Void damage applied to it. But this is bad because there's Scions and all that and trying to attack me and shoot at me. And my recovery is bad. So now it's like I have to wait longer for my shields to come back. And it's just, oh my god, it's a tense situation. But not that bad, because I survived. And there's more heavy ammo off to my left near the centre of the arena, where most people will probably be camping around, or where the boss spawns or whatever. So obviously the boss is the Void shield there off to the left. Of course there's more Centurions in that here. Now I'm thinking about, oh my god, what do I do? I still need to reload the rocket launchers, that's not helpful. So I'll just sprint on back to the safe space, the camp spots, and deal with it there. There's more heavy ammo over here, so I pick it all up. That's probably the rocket launcher or icebreaker kills coming in to be very, very handy in this case, so you don't actually waste special ammo. And yeah, all you have to do is just wait on special ammo to recharge automatically. And so at this point we're getting very close. I just saw that, there's an Imperial Centurion still alive, so he's going to be a pain in the ass, so I thought do whatever it takes to take him out. Now I'm going to prep a rocket to shoot right at the boss to take his shield down, like so. I don't know if that rocket actually did take all his shield down in one, but maybe the cluster effect after did. Now he's got Void again, so that's like 6 times in a row he's had Void as an overshield. Now he's still going to be sitting around here somewhere, so it's just a matter of sluicing right on in, doing damage, and soon enough you'll see I'll just pull out a super and fuck his shit up. So we're in the home stretch at this point. Don't even give a damn about the enemies. Take out his shields by whatever means necessary. In this case I'll fire a rocket at him. I think that's enough. Then 1, 2, 3, 4 and he's dead. Simple as that. When you're in the home stretch, that's what I would advise you do, is just pull out a super and try and do as much damage as you can, and not really focus on the enemies, because at that point the enemies aren't really going to be, doing anything against you. And I was just a hair away from that heavy ammo. And that took me like 15 minutes to do, because that boss fight is ridiculously shit, to be honest. I hate this boss fight, but it is doable, and hopefully I never ever ever have to do that boss fight ever again, unless it's co-op, in which case it's more bearable, but it is what it is. So as is customary with what I'm going to be doing here, I'm going to be showing you the loot that I get. I have a little dance here to say yes, I fucking got through it. It took long enough to do. So now I'm going to drop down and there's this dead ghost here right in front of me that I get. That's always there, but I think if you get it for the first time you get a Grimoire card. But for whatever reason they don't remove the dead ghost, so you can just pick it up infinitely. So by doing the level 32 arena we get an armor core, and the weapons, or well shit I get, is the Hive Noblesse and Mark of a Kelslayer. So there's no reason to show you the wreath or anything, because I'm pretty sure that everything that you can get I will actually show you. Maybe not in the next video. I think that's where I skip over the dismantling of the weapon core. But it's nothing too special. You kind of know what happens and the rewards that you get, so you don't need to see me dismantle that sort of stuff. But we got 428 kills in total with 1 death. We don't get reward drops for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, that has been the Broken Legion arena soloed at level 32. I know it's a bit bad that I didn't do it at level 34 to have an all level 34 arenas soloed, but I did the level 34 version in the past. So as you can see, once you do it once, all the rewards go away, and obviously I got that Husk of the Pit earlier. There's the Hive Noblesse there, there's some engrams as well, Mark of a Kelslayer, and that's pretty much all I got by doing this. Now of course there's stuff like the Token of Flight, which you just dismantle for reputation at this point, and glimmer increasing stuff that you can get off the Cryptarch.